Do you want to lose weight but struggle to stay committed to a meal plan because you constantly feel hungry? Does food provide you comfort when you are bored, angry, lonely, or sad? If so, you are in the right place. My name is Kristen Jones, and I'm a life coach specializing in emotional eating and weight loss, and I'm also a lifelong emotional eater. I want to provide you with information, motivation, and support so you too can learn to manage your issues with food and develop a healthy relationship with yourself. Welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Podcast. What happened there? Stop. Oh, it is recording. Okay, good. Hi, y'all.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Lori. Good to see you. Hi, Julie. So many people I know here. Vicki, I'm so glad you made it. Julie, thank you so much for helping Vicki. That was so nice of you earlier today. That was very, very sweet. I appreciate that. The chat is open. You can say hi to each other in the chat. That is all good. Actually, I will be dropping some things in the chat periodically. So if you see the chat and you can open up to it, that would be great. We'll give people a couple of minutes. Judith, you accidentally shared your screen with us, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to not have that happen. There you go. We're good. We came back. That's all right. All right. Yes. Yeah. You know what? Absolutely. Say hi to everybody and tell everybody where you're from. So yeah, say hi, because we had lots of people here from all over. So it would be awesome to let people know where you're from so I can see it too. Kathy asked that question. Kathy, you're so on top of things. Thank you. Right back at you, sister. Way to go. All right. For those of you who don't know, I am coming from the beautiful small town of Danville, California, which is in Northern California, outside of San Francisco, about 45 minutes outside of the Bay Area, or in the Bay Area, outside of San Francisco. All right. Charlotte, I've seen your, Charlotte, I didn't know you were from Ontario. I've seen your name so many times. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen you before, but I've seen your name like a ton of times. Awesome. Gina Birch, you almost got a text message from me last night, but yeah, you did. You almost got one from me. All right. Good deal. I'll give people a couple more minutes to come on in.
I don't have an option like to wave or to message on my.
Are you on your phone?
Outdated. Yeah.
That's probably why. We just know you're here, Lori. But we can't see you though. We can't see you. And that's part of the fun.
Why can't you see me?
I don't know. Your camera's not on. There it is. It's on now. There you go. Okay. All right. Good deal. Well, welcome everyone. Hi, Anne. Good to see you too. All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, we are going to get ourselves moving here. I'm going to I'll give it another. Yeah, we'll be okay. All right. Lots and lots of friendly faces. Does everybody have something to write with and a piece of paper? You want to have something to write with, because y'all, I'm going to be dropping some stuff here. So you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to take notes. I will make sure that I, give you enough of a heads up warning when those times are coming. There will be some questions that I'm going to ask you. You're not going to be answering them now, but they're going to be things that I will give you that you can then, you can journal on, and you can ponder, meander, think about, ruminate, all of those fun words that mean that y'all would put your little brain cells together and think about it. All right. Oh, Padge, it's good to see you. Okay, so I have to give a special shout out and a thank you to Padge, because Padge let me know that she tried to register and she couldn't, and I had limited it to 100 people, and that was not enough. So I opened that up. So Padge, thank you so much for your help with that. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. So thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, and super happy you're here. If I have not met you, either online, either through commenting and that sort of thing, or I haven't met you on a podcast or not. My name is Kristen Jones, and I am the founder of the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community on Facebook. I'm also the founder of Kristen Jones Coaching. You'll learn a little bit more about me as I get into the class, and we talk about why we're here. One of the things, but Lily can't get into the Zoom due to her laptop. She just wanted to be sure she will get the replay. Yes. Yeah. Would you let her know that absolutely everyone will get the replay? So one of the things that and I will tell you honestly that, and I'll get more into my story, but one of the things that I've noticed, and I think is really true, is that for most people, I'm going to say for 99% of the population, with the exception of the people that I went to life coaching school with, and those people who have been working with me for a while, most people do not have any idea how your brain works and how your brain impacts every single thing that you do, and why we would ever not think that our brain is going to be the most important factor in whether or not we lose weight, gain weight, keep it off, whatever it is. Why that is not that, for those of you who, and I'm sure if you're in this group, you've gained and lost weight a number of times. So you've been on diets, you've done all the things, and you know that people are not talking about our thoughts. They're not talking about what you're thinking about. They're not talking about how you're feeling when things are happening, when you're trying to lose weight. They're just talking about what you're eating, how much you're exercising, very, very basic, straightforward things. And the reason why I think they're not talking about it is, one, because I don't think a lot of people understand it, but also it is challenging to change. It's not easy because most of us, almost all of us, have been having these thoughts about ourselves and about food and about our bodies for most of our lives. And if you don't understand how your brain works and you don't understand the repetitive nature of your brain, it can prove to be very confusing as to like, why can't I just make a decision to change a habit, and why doesn't it just happen? And it just doesn't happen because that's not how our brains are made. So let me just make sure I can. Oh, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. Debbie likes my top. Let me just make sure I sign up for, oops, I want to make sure that some people are messaging me and I want to make sure, I'm sorry, I'm just not, oh, that's okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So it's really one of the things that I want to teach you, and I'll just kind of give you, and if you've been following me for a while, you know this, but we're going to go into a little bit of detail tonight, and you'll see how it's relevant when it comes to what our brain does and how our brain works and how that impacts and directly influences the decisions we make and the decisions we make about what we eat, why we're eating, and all the things that go along with weight loss. So without further ado, we are going to get into the class. So the masterclass is managing your desire for food. So let me just get my presentation going, and then I will share my screen with you all. Okay, let me do one other thing. Okay, let me share my screen. There it is. And there it is. And let me move myself out of the way. Okay, so here we are, managing your desire for food. So understand why you do what you do, and then make the best choices for you. So that is what we will be talking about tonight. And again, welcome and thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you committing to coming and taking notes and really being present. So again, there will be notes, definitely things to take notes on, and I will give you any sort of heads up as to relevant things that I want you to make sure that you're paying attention to. So come on now. We practiced this. Why isn't it working? Okay, there we go. All right. So you're in the right place if you feel powerless to resist certain foods. If there are certain foods that just seem to call your name and you do not feel like you have any control over whether or not you respond to them or not. If losing weight is a struggle because you can't stay committed to your plan. If you want to learn how to say no in the moment so you can reach your long-term goals. And again, you're in the right place if you feel hopeless about ever losing your weight and keeping it off. Again, you are in the right place. Here is what you'll learn by hanging out today. You'll learn how desire for certain foods is created and how you can change your desire for foods so you can lose weight. Why it can feel like you are out of control around some foods, and how you can be a part of addressing that particular issue. I'm going to go and definitely talk about the brain's involvement in the desire process and how to start to manage it effectively. And then finally, strategies to start using immediately to feel more in control of your desire for food and your overall achievement in life, as well as in your weight loss endeavors. Okay. So this training is not for you. And I'm just going to say your training is you're probably not right for my group either. I'm just going to be honest. If you're looking for a strict diet that severely reduces calories for quick weight loss, yeah, that's not me. Head to a keto group. You want to be told exactly what to eat and how much to eat. I do not do that. Believe that the only thing to consider when trying to lose weight are what kinds of foods you're eating and how much exercise you're doing. And finally, this training is not for you if you're willing to do anything, no matter how ridiculous it is, to lose weight. We just don't do those things. So I have 2 fun rewards for you for hanging out today until the end. So there are 2 bonuses that you're going to receive. One of them is going to be a personal mindset shift guide that I will put the link in the chat. I'll also send it to you. I can also send it to you in Messenger. For those people who are on phones, you can just send me a message in Messenger and just say, I stayed till the end, and I will send it to you. And then there's also a get outside guide, which will give you some benefits to being outside, the different things, just so you have a little bit more knowledge about getting yourself out of your house and why that's a good thing. So I'll be sending those to you. So understanding how to manage your desire for food basically changed my life in so many ways. So I have 3 pictures here. This first one is up at my parents' house and my sister's house. This scene is one of our scenes within my family. We do a lot of charity work around the holidays, and we feed the homeless during our holidays up in the Northern California area. And so one of the things that we would do is we have these big assembly lines where we make all these sandwiches. This scene here would have been completely out of my control. Like I would never have been able to manage being there, not eating your meatloaf sandwiches. Oh my God, I love that. And it would be so hard for me. So this picture was really relevant to me because this would change my life. So that my life would be so different if I was not able to manage how I feel about food. I was always a very secretive eater, would never have let my boy Jackson into my life had it not been for me getting a lot of my own issues dealt with. And again, managing my eating has changed my life in so many different ways. One of them being, as a result, I became a life coach and a weight loss coach as a result of really taking myself through the process, not only that I learned in life coaching school, but also that I kind of adopted from working with a life coach as well. So just so many benefits for me personally have happened as a result of kind of understanding why I desired food so much. Wrong direction. Hold on a second. Okay. So a little about me. So again, certified life and weight loss coach. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a Pilates instructor, and I'm also a weight management specialist. I'm the owner of a business called Kristen Jones Coaching, where I do not only weight loss coaching, but also life coaching. I'm a former mentor and coach for the Online Trainers Federation, where I did business coaching for fitness professionals who wanted to take their businesses online. And I'm the author of the Amazon bestselling book, When Food Is Your Drug. So my journey happened, my journey with emotional eating started many, many years ago when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I can remember food being the center of all of our lives, my families especially, and that's going to be really relevant to what we're talking about today. I come from a family that's from the South. My Nana and Papa were from Oklahoma, and the only way you showed love was by having a meal with people. And when we ever got together, there was never a time we got together where there wasn't food, and that became an expectation. And that's something that you will definitely hear when we talk about the patterns and the establishing of the patterns within our brains. Mine started really, really early. So I became very active in the fitness industry and in health and fitness early on, because I think I knew I had a pretty significant problem and I really wanted to deal with it, but I didn't know how. So I knew I wanted to do something to help other people, but I didn't know how to help myself at the same time, because I knew there was a healthier way than what I was doing and how I was choosing to try and manage my weight and my eating. But as a result of that, I fell victim to an eating disorder. I had a full-blown eating disorder by the time I was about 16. And it became clear to me as I progressed in fitness that I knew that my mission in life was I didn't know at the time that it was going to be to do this kind of thing. But I knew that I wanted to help people end kind of the body and weight expectations that we put on ourselves. I know that's one thing that I definitely had done for myself. I wanted to educate people that you have to meet yourself where you are in order to lose weight. You can't be following what someone else is doing. You have to stay in your own lane, meet yourself where you are, and then work from there. I wanted to help people love and accept their own bodies, create a healthy life from the inside out, and more importantly, learn that food is not the enemy, but it is also not our best friend, and it can't be our best friend. But it's not the enemy, and we can't hate it, but we also have to have it in perspective. And then finally, that I knew that there was a gentler and more rational way to lose weight than anything I had ever done and anything that I was seeing people do. And I knew that there was something that I was needing to discover. So I left my 17-year career as a teacher. I was a middle school teacher. I taught English and history. Absolutely thought that was what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And then I became very discontent and realized that I needed to do something that was going to be a little bit more hands-on, and that I was going to be able to help people immediately. And so I left my teaching job to create a program that would help me, but treat my own emotional eating, but also help others. And what was born was the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community and the business that I now have today. So fast forward to today and why we're here. So you're here to learn to manage your desire for certain foods. So I know for me, once I discovered this and once I discovered what was going on inside my head and inside my brain and the thoughts that I was having, my relationship with food would never be the same. And I want to share with you that now and what that looked like, and then what you can start doing today. I will tell you from the get-go, this is not an instantaneous process. This is not something that you're like, oh, I went to this class and I took some notes and darn it, why isn't this going away? That is not what's going to happen. So I just, it didn't take any of us 2 weeks to get here, and it's not going to take 2 weeks for it to go away. But I will talk a little bit more about this. What I do want to offer you is I want to offer you a whole lot of hope and a whole lot of inspiration and a whole lot of belief that it is possible, because I have sat exactly where you are, but I didn't have a presentation. I just know that I felt completely like just hopeless, that there was no way I was ever going to overcome this, that I was ever going to be able to look at food normally, that I was ever going to, as I would say, eat like a normal person. I never thought that would happen. And so I just want to throw that lifeline out to you and know that it is possible and that you are taking the right steps just merely by being here as well. So have your paper and pen ready and get ready to take notes. So today's talk, I'm going to answer the following questions. So what causes you to be overweight? And I know it seems like so simplistic, and you're going to see the slide and you're going to be like, duh, Kristen, of course we know what that is, but you will understand how that all plays together. How do you end overeating? Sounds really simple. It's not so simple. What is desire? Why do you desire food? Why does desire increase when trying to lose weight? Why do you feel out of control around certain foods? How do you stop over desiring foods that lead to overeating? So all of those things are going to be addressed. So first, what causes you to be overweight? And this is going to be one of those well, overeating or eating more food than your body needs to survive. I use the word survive, and I say this, and I don't say this to be like really obvious, like, Captain Obvious here, but it seems so obvious. And there are people in your lives, I'm sure, because I have been told it in my life too. Well, just don't eat as much. Like it's that simple. Like, well, just don't eat as much. Just don't take a second portion. And I think if you're like me, I was like, well, thanks, Einstein. I would have done that a long time ago. If if it was that simple, I wouldn't be here in this place. So understand that I'm not trying to be flippant when I say that, but it's important to know when I say that what your body needs to survive, that is a really important fact. And we will get to that, because that our bodies are amazing when it comes to knowing exactly how much food we need. Need and want are two very different things. And we will, and that's where the desire comes in. So how do you end overeating? Well, you have two options when it comes to overeating and ending it. What most people do and what almost all diets propose is that you resist overeating. That is, and when I say resist, like willpower, like just buckle down, just eat the foods that you're supposed to eat the boring stuff, just resist it. And that is treating the symptom. That's putting a Band-Aid on why you're overeating. Just resist it. Just that's the person who says, just don't eat as much. I know there's members of my family that would say, just don't eat as much. What's the problem? So that's the first one. That can treat the symptom, and that's a Band-Aid. Or you can stop over desiring food, and that is treating the cause. So you can treat the symptom or you can treat the cause. I don't know about y'all, but I'd rather treat the cause. I'm not really into the temporary fix. So again, two options for ending overeating: resisting overeating or treating the symptom, and then stop over desiring food, which is treating the cause. And that's the one we're going to talk about today. So what is desire? Before I get into this, I'm going to tell there may be some of you as I'm talking and as I'm saying this, you maybe think like, oh, she's saying it's my fault. Yeah, I kind of am. And in fact, yes, I am saying that. And it's mine too. Because desire for anything is a learned behavior. It is a learned behavior that you have created, I have created, and most people who are carrying around extra weight have created. It's the result of repetitious behaviors and patterns of thinking and behaving. So it follows what I call the T formula, which is thoughts lead to emotions and emotions lead to actions. And thoughts, emotions, and actions, all of those things play together. And so it always starts with a thought. It doesn't start, you feel like it starts with an action, but it doesn't. It starts with a thought. So it starts with a conscious thought, and something to remember about conscious thoughts. And when I say conscious thoughts, I mean, as I'm sitting here, as you're sitting here listening to me, you are consciously using your brain to listen to what I'm saying. The crazy part is we as human beings only do that and use our conscious brain about 3% of the time during the day. That we're consciously thinking, either using conscious thought or thinking about like, what is this person saying to me? Or what are the words I'm saying? Otherwise, 97% of the time, we are working at a subconscious level that it's automatically happening. Automatic. Like when I'm snapping my fingers, I'm not thinking about it. It's just happening. I mean, I'm thinking about it, but like my fingers know what to do because it's a repetitious behavior because I know how to do it. So 97% subconscious, 3% conscious. So it starts with a conscious thought, but with repetition over time, it moves. So I'm going to give you an example. Actually, I have an example and I'll give it to you in a second. So it's repetitious over time. So it moves when you have done something repeatedly, it's in your conscious brain. Your conscious brain, it takes effort. It then takes it and realizes this person she keeps doing the same thing. She keeps thinking the same thoughts over and over and over and over, and then doing the same thing. So instead of wasting all this energy continuing to do that, I'm going to now move that and think that's going to become an automatic response. And so it gets moved from the prefrontal cortex, which is in the front of your brain, where it takes effort. It moves back to your midbrain where your primal brain sits. And that's where it becomes automatic. So it's kind of like brushing your teeth. Like you don't think about brushing your teeth. You just do it. You probably have 10 other thoughts when you're brushing your teeth. You just know how to brush your teeth and you don't think about it. And your brain saves energy by letting you think about other things when you're brushing your teeth, because you don't need to think about brushing your teeth because you already do it. So now where this becomes and now a word from our sponsors. Hold on. We have to give some background information about the primal brain and the prefrontal cortex. So if those are the first time you're hearing those words, Let me explain. So we have two main areas. We have a bunch of areas of our brain, but the two main areas that we're concerned about is our primal brain, which is the brain that we're born with. And that's what we come out of the womb with, a little bitty primal brain. And that brain is responsible for immediate gratification. It wants you to be happy. It's the fight or flight. It's all about your survival. So that is, like, we call it the toddler brain. That's the brain that you run around with when you're little. But as you get older, because you remember when you talk to kids, like, kids have no concept of time. They have no concept of doing things in order, like, multitasking, doing things in order. It's because they don't have they only have a primal brain. They don't have all the other parts of their brain developed. They eventually get a prefrontal cortex, and the prefrontal cortex is responsible for long-term planning, higher level thinking, and it allows you to think about your thinking. That's what separates us from my dog Jackson, who's behind the screen on the treadmill sleeping. He just does what he does. He can't think about his thinking. He doesn't have any higher level thoughts. He just impulse goes. That's what separates us from animals, is having that prefrontal cortex and being able to think about our thinking and have that higher level thinking. So that's a little important background piece. So now, although it appears that some of these behaviors are involuntary and without your control, and they have no conscious thought. So I'll give you two examples. There are two examples that I like to use, and one of them is driving a car, and the other one is eating chocolate. So when you drive your car, I'm imagining most of you are like me, and you get into the car and you have 15 other things that you're thinking about when you're driving. And all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm at my destination and I have no idea what happened. Like, it just, I just do my thing. I'm like the power driver. I've got all sorts of things. I'm multitasking, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. That is an example of repetitious behaviors that your brain has taken from your prefrontal cortex and moved it to your primal brain, and it happens automatically. Now, when you get to your destination, it's like you've done something. You're like, hey, I got here. I didn't get in an accident. Woo, that's exciting. Your brain gets this little bitty reward of dopamine. It gets this little bitty, like, all right, good job. This little reward of, you did something really, you got to your destination and you didn't hit another car. You didn't kill anybody. That's awesome. You get that very little hit of dopamine. And that's the reward that you get for performing this repetitious behavior. Let's go to the second repetitious behavior. I would say eating chocolate after dinner on the couch watching TV. If that's become a repetitious thought and behavior, and you do it over and over and over, your brain is like, she keeps going to the couch and she gets chocolate and it's after dinner and she keeps doing this. It's been like a month. I'm not thinking about this anymore. We're putting it back into the automatic. So now it goes back to the automatic part of your brain and it just keeps happening. The difference in the desire is the level of the reward that you get. And the reward is that little dopamine hit. In driving a car, you get a tiny little dopamine hit for doing that repetitious behavior. For eating the chocolate sitting on the couch, oh, it's much bigger and it's much more rewarding. And it gives you that feeling of pleasure. So anytime this is directly applies to eating food. Anytime you eat a food that you really enjoy and that you really desire, you get a much more elevated dopamine hit or a reward than you would brushing your teeth. There's not really much of a reward that you get from brushing your teeth, except you have fresh minty breath if somebody wants to kiss you, but that's about it. Otherwise, you get a little bit, but it's not much. The chocolate, you get a whole lot. And so the difference is that there's a much greater hit that your brain gets, and it makes you feel good. Human beings are all about seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, and doing it in the quickest way possible with as little effort as possible. So it's not only within your control, but it is within your creation to change this dynamic. And basically it's, if you can create it, you can also uncreate it. So if you've created a system where you have thought the same thought about eating after dinner, eating at night, having that 4 o'clock reward, gosh, cupcakes are amazing. I love, I can't resist my mom's blank. If you have those thoughts continuing to go through your head, no one else put them there but you also get to change them. So that's the exciting part. So it's kind of a catch-22. You have to take responsibility. So questions on that. Does anybody, I'm going to unshare my screen here for a second. Let me stop my screen share. Does anybody have any, I'm going to look in the, is there a way, okay. Oh, is there a way to print out the slides? I can see about that. Absolutely. I can me or my trusty sidekick, Kathy Perez, can figure it out more. She's my Google expert. So does anybody have any, I mean, you can pop a question into the chat, or if you want, you can just raise your hand. That's fine too. I mean, and we do the little yellow hand raiser in the, if you go to, what is it more? No, it's reactions. You go to reactions down on your, at the base of you can raise your hand. It's very exciting. I'm really getting into that lately. So if anybody wants to raise their hand, you're more than welcome to. Diane Dean, I'm so happy you're here. Yeah, Vicki, it's the same idea. Mindfulness is, again, being present and just being aware of your thinking. So yes, I would say I think I kind of go to the next level when it comes to the thinking about your thinking and really taking it and analyzing it and then just making the decisions about how you want to change it. But yeah, mindfulness would really is about thinking about your thinking. And then I actually take it that next step of how do we then alter those thoughts? What do we do with, now that we've realized the thought doesn't serve us, how do we then change it? How do we then shift it to make it so it works for us? And we'll get into that as well. Okay. What if it is just any food? So you mean, Charlotte, do you mean like it's just food in general? So it's not anything specific? And you can unmute yourself, absolutely jump on in.
Yes.
Okay. So it's any food. And would it be specifically, so that's going to be, then my question would be, what is the story that you're telling yourself about food? You have food has some sort of, kind of like, for me, like it has that warm hug from the family, it's like it's that kind of dynamic. And so we're going to get to that. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be, because some people have a real draw to a certain type of food. And some people it's just food in general, because they have those thoughts that make it, again, make it like that warm hug that gives them pleasure. And so we'll definitely be able to take that piece and make the adjustment to make it with any food. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. Can you specifically please talk about sugar and chocolate for a moment? Yes. Do you think it's possible to be physically addicted to those or other foods? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say physically addicted. I'm going to say no, because, and Gina Birch, I'm going to ask you to jump on in here, because I'm going to parallel the addictive quality of alcohol and the an addiction. I don't think you're addicted to a food, I think you're addicted to what it does to you. So Gina, jump in. If you think, I want you to, you and Joanne are my addiction specialists here. So what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. I mean, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so alcohol was addicting. If I took one drink, I couldn't predict how many more I was going to have. I couldn't predict what was going to happen. And for a long time, I told myself that I was addicted to sugar and flour. And I've tried a different 12-step program that was pretty restrictive with food. And what I learned here with Kristen is that's just a story I was telling myself, that I can absolutely eat a couple bites of pie. I can have a slice of bread or half a slice of bread and stop. It's just a story I was telling myself. But but I follow Kristen's suggestions. And when I do, you know, it works.
Right. And I think, and Sarah, I would say if that is a choice that you want to make, you know, and the same way that like Gina doesn't choose to drink alcohol anymore. So that's a choice that she's made. If chocolate or sugar is a choice that you don't want to eat those, then I think that is absolutely, that you can absolutely make that decision and do that and move forward with that. But from a physical addiction, like I'm out of control when I do it, I think that, again, I think that it's, I think there's I also think that, yeah, I think there's a story that you're telling, that your brain is telling you as well. And so I think that and again, I'm certainly not an expert on addiction, but I'm going to say from my personal experience and from what I've seen, I would say that physically addicting, no. Psychologically, 100%. I think it could absolutely be because of the story that you're telling yourself. So I would want to differentiate between those two things, because I think, like, physically, do you need chocolate? You know, like you. I think. Yeah, no. I'm gonna just put my line in the sand. I'm just gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna stop. Because I think that there is a story that we tell ourselves. And I think that the more work that you do on understanding how your brain works, and you get deeper into the understanding of how our brain controls everything, and that we get to make the decisions about how we want to go about doing things. I would say if something was, yeah, I'm just going to stop there. I feel like I'm digging myself into a hole. So that would be my thoughts on that. So, but again, I think I'd say that if you want to choose to not eat it, that's totally your call. I mean, I know, and I've done it for a long time. I've done, you know, I did no sugar for, gosh, I think I lasted 6 weeks. It was hard. It was really hard. And now I just don't, I wouldn't do it now, just because I just don't feel like it's, I would only do it if I wanted to be mean to myself. And because I don't find it to be necessary anymore. So
Kristen,
yeah. Yeah. Joanne. Hi,
listen,
sweetie.
good. How are you tonight? Listen, I just wanted to say something here.
Please.
I'm a recovering alcoholic also. And there is a difference, because alcohol, we don't drink. Food is around us all the time. I'm going to tell you, for me, the obsession to drink was taken away. Okay. This is a whole different story for me, is the food part of it, because I deal with food every day, where alcohol, the obsession, I don't deal with alcohol anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why this is very different for me. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thank you. And so Sarah, yeah, and Sarah, and Sarah's a client of mine, and so I know that we'll be talking more about, you know, as we go deeper and deeper into things. I think that will really, it'll definitely be relevant, and I think that that's really important to understand, that that as you get to know more and more about how your brain works, and get more kind of a understanding of how the brain works, and what your role is in all of this, it definitely will, everyone will be able to move more towards making the decision about what it is that you want, what you want to have in your life, and what you don't want to have in your life, and you get to make that choice. I think the important thing is to not give the power over to food. You get to make the choice. And I think that's something that is going to be, that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. Make sure I can, Lori. Okay. How can you continue to not, how can you use that you normally overeat, but not overeat them? Okay. So So Lori's question is, how can you continue to eat those certain foods that you normally overeat, but not overeat them? Okay, so the idea is that you are, again, what are your thoughts about those, whatever certain food it is? What are your thoughts about that food going into it? If your thought going into like going to have like, biscuits and gravy, going to have biscuits and gravy. Oh my gosh, this is like my favorite. Oh, I can't wait. This is the best biscuits and gravy. If that's the thought that you go in with, then there's no doubt that you're going to, you have to change your thoughts about those foods. And those foods are just foods. And we'll get to that. We have to start changing the story about, and that's actually, Laura, you're jumping ahead. That's one of my solutions. But it is changing your story that you have about food. Because as somebody I follow says, if you are making a romance about the drive-through at Burger King, if you are making that a romance and that's a Harlequin novel, like, of course you're going to give in. Of course you're going to want to experience that. Of course it's going to give you all sorts of pleasure, because you've created that in your mind. You've created that anticipation and that excitement and that like, oh my God, this is going to feel so good. That's what we have to change. It doesn't mean that we can't have it and enjoy it, but we can't make it like it is the only thing that's going to be in our lives, and it's the best thing that's going to be in our lives. That's what we have to kind of shift. And so Lori, I'm going to have you put a pause on that, because we will get to that. Okay. All right. Back to the screen share. All right. Oh, I went to the waiting page now. Where'd the wait? There it is. Okay. That's where we're going. All right. Oh, where did it go? Uh-oh. That was not where I wanted to go. Hold on a second. Oh, my screen share is paused. Okay, I don't think you guys can see. Oh, maybe you can't see that. Let me.
Yeah, we can see two of you.
You can see two of me?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, they don't want to see two of me. Let's get rid of that. Oh, no, wait, hold on a second. Let's stop the screen share. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Hold on. Where did that go? Oh, I know where it went. Hold on. Oh, come on. Let's see. I apologize. I don't know why this is being funky. Did I just close that out? I think I did. Oh, okay. Hold on a second, guys. I'm so sorry about this. Okay. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this. Okay. All righty. There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, let me move this. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it. Okay, there we go. And all right. Okay, we're back. All right. Okay, here we go. So moving on. So why do you desire food? So when you eat, food creates a reward in your brain. As I talked about that dopamine response and that dopamine pleasure that you get. And we get that anytime we eat food, anytime we accomplish something, anytime we achieve something. I don't know about any of you, but you do get a little hit of dopamine when you do a little check mark on your little to-do list. That gives you that little bit of reward. For those of people who have children and you've used stickers and you've used like a reward system for your kids, that gives them a little bit of a dopamine hit. They enjoy that. So every time we eat, we get a little bit of a release of dopamine, which results in a pleasurable feeling. So conditioning and beliefs, so like family conditioning, beliefs that we have, beliefs that we've been told, they have led you to believe that you should get a large amount of joy from food. For me, it was, again, Growing up with a family from the South, that is what we did. That was who we were. We went to my Nana's house and you walked in the door and she immediately got a frying pan out and started making legit biscuits and gravy. I mean, it didn't matter what time of the day it was. She did it because that's how she showed us love. So to me, in my mind, when I was 8 years old, food became something that was very important to me, very emotional. And it was the hug that was always there. And so that increases your desire. When you have those thoughts going through your head of, I should be getting a lot of joy and a lot of happiness from food, that increases your desire, because who doesn't want to feel happy? Most of us do. That's part of the issue. So why does desire increase when you're trying to lose weight? You know, it seems like when we try to lose weight, when we try to cut back, when we try to, just everything escalates. We want food way more. Well, when you cut back on food and you don't address that underlying mechanism of desire and why you desire it, your desire increases because you're being withheld the thing in your mind that you think brings you joy, that should be giving you joy, and that does give you joy. And so when that's withheld, yeah, that doesn't make you happy. You don't want that. So that increases the desire because that feeling, that good feeling, is being withheld from you. Willpower, again, treating the symptom, is really irrelevant because the brain's desire for food or your desire and the desire that you've created is more intense and can override willpower anytime. So the desire for food, that's why when we just try to go on willpower and you just try to I'm just going to, I'm going to suck it up. You can do it for maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days, but then it's like, we don't have enough. Willpower is not strong enough to override the desire that we have, because the desire, we know that connection with that reward that we're going to get when we eat. And that's way more powerful and way more of what we want. So why do you feel so out of control around certain foods or around foods in general? So your brain is running what are called thought errors. And thought errors are beliefs that you have and that you hold on to and that you've been taught that justify why you're doing a certain action, like eating. And so an example could be like, I need chocolate after a meal. Like that is a thought error. That is a belief that you've told yourself over and over, and that you now are like, yep, it's automatic, because your brain's like, we're not going to keep thinking about that. We're just putting that back in the automatic, that yes, we totally need chocolate after a meal. And that is 100% that's Bible. That is absolutely take it to the grave real. Another one, I must eat popcorn when I watch TV. It could be anything. I can't resist my mom's lasagna. All of those are thoughts that you've created over time, and you've continued to repeat them. And so your brain is like, well, yeah, that's just what we do, because your brain is programmed to respond to repetition and to what it's familiar with. And so when we keep thinking the same thoughts, then we keep getting we get the same emotional response with those thoughts. And then that leads to our feelings, and that leads to our actions. So again, sounds kind of harsh that I'm like, man, I'm just throwing it down, making you guys all responsible for this, but we are. Each one of us is responsible for this. So it creates a perceived, again, those thought errors that, I love my mom's carrot cake. Amazing. Creates a perceived desire for food. It results in an increase in your urgency for food. Again, because you've convinced yourself that your happiness is tied with that food, or with food in general. And again, this is super important. It is not the food that is creating this desire. It is not the food at all, but it is your thoughts about the food. And it's your story that you've created about the food and how it will make you feel. It is not about the food sliding down your throat and how amazing it is. It is about how it makes you feel. And that is what's driving the desire. So when you feel out of control around a certain food or foods, you have to ask yourself, and I have some questions for you to ask, but you have to ask yourself the question of how is it, like, how do I want to feel? And why do I think that just this food is the only thing that can give that to me? Because that's what you've created that story, and that's what that's what you bought into. So change your beliefs and your thoughts about food, and your desire for it will change as well. So change your beliefs and your thoughts about food, and your desire for it will change as well. That's pretty exciting. So your overall goal, if you are trying to lose weight, which I think most people are, is to reduce your desire to overeat, because that will in turn reduce your weight. So here comes the big stuff. What is the solution to over desiring? So what is the solution to over desiring? Well, the solution lies in why you are desiring food in the first place. So why you are desiring food in the first place. And again, it is not the food. I'm just going to tell you, and that's the ongoing mantra in my membership group. It's not about the food. This is so not about food. It is so about you and your thoughts and your beliefs and your feelings and all the things. When you eat, when you aren't hungry, you are eating to cover up, avoid, and distract from emotions that you do not want to be experiencing. We do not need, as human beings, to eat unless we are hungry. We do not need to eat. Do we? Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. And I've had people come back to me and say, but what if it's just because it tastes really good? And I just want to eat it because it tastes really good. And the lie about that is it's not about the taste. It's about how it makes you feel. And that is emotional eating. To eat so you feel a certain way. Because we've talked about this in the membership very recently. And Lori, right, you're on my camera right now. So we've talked about how it's usually the first 1 or 2 bites that really taste the best.
Yeah.
And then it starts to dissipate.
Yeah, it doesn't taste as good.
Right. But we tell ourselves, we keep chasing that first bite. We keep chasing, like, if I eat more, maybe that really first bite's going to come back. That amazing first bite is going to be there. It's never going to be there.
Right.
Yeah. And you have to tell yourself that. You have to remind yourself that. So that's super important to remember, that the first bite that we have, the first and second bite, those are the best ones you're going to get. To keep eating, it's not going to get any better. You think it's going to get any better, and you're going to tell your brain, oh my gosh, if we eat this whole bowl of banana pudding, it's going to be so good. And it's not ever going to be the way it was in the beginning. But we tell ourselves, gosh, I just got to keep eating because it's going to keep getting better and better and better. And it really actually doesn't. It's actually the opposite. So that's important. But again, when we're eating, when we are not hungry, or when we eat and we continue to eat, even though we are no longer hungry, we are, in fact, at that time eating to cover up, avoid, or distract from emotions that we don't want to be experiencing. And that's what needs to be dealt with. That's where the desire needs to be dealt with. Because you believe that by eating, those feelings will not be as painful, they'll go away, or you will forget about them. And we know that does not happen. That does not happen. And you compound it with feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, disgust, all the things, and you don't feel good, and it results in obvious weight gain, but it's more how it makes you feel. But that is a lie, and it is time to start being honest with yourself. And again, it's not about honesty with anybody else. It's not about honesty with me. It's not about honesty with your partner, your husband, your wife, whomever. It doesn't matter. It's honesty with yourself. When it comes to looking at how you've been working with food, how you've been using food, this is all about you being honest with yourself and about the thoughts that you are choosing to think about, not only about food, but about yourself as well. And that's what really needs to be addressed. So I just, for anybody who's watching the replay, if you're watching this live, if you thought I was going to come on and give you some magic potion concoction of and if you eat this and this and you do this and this, that's just not what it is. It really is about how you're choosing to think, and again, I got solutions for you, but we have to be, it's really about being in integrity with ourselves. Because you believe that, okay, I already said that one. There we go. No one forces you to think anything, and it is time to decide that you are going to start being in control of what you think and believe. And this comes before, because people want to just control what they eat. And this has to come before you decide that you're going to start controlling what you eat. You have to start deciding that, like, I've got to start thinking about, I've got to start to choose different thoughts and different beliefs, because that all comes before I ever put anything, ever put anything in your mouth. So right now, I want everyone, I can't see most of you. Most of you don't even have your cameras on. That's totally fine. But if you have your camera on, if this makes you uncomfortable, you can turn your camera off. I do not care. But what I want you to do is, now is the time. This is like where the rubber meets the road. This now is the time for you to make a decision. You've spent, oh my gosh, you've spent a long time with me. I got to hurry up here, but you've spent a lot of time with me. This is the time where you have to decide, you have to commit to yourself. Like, am I going to be serious? Am I going to actually take this step? Am I going to do the things that I'm going to learn in order to help myself move forward? So ask yourself, this is your commitment to yourself. I will do what I say I will do. I will let go of perfection. I will fuel my body with foods I love. I will pay attention to my thoughts and choose thoughts that will serve my life. I will follow through and finish. I will love myself through the process, and I will change how I think and believe, because I'm worth it. So right now, in your own mind, you get to decide, is that something that you're going to commit to? Can you commit to that for yourself? You don't have to answer to anybody else. You certainly don't have to answer to me or anyone else, but you get to decide, is that what you want? And will you commit to that? So in your own mind, in your own head, if you do, you can write this down. I commit to this because I deserve peace, happiness, and joy in my life. I commit to this because I deserve peace, happiness, and joy in my life. I want that for you. You have to want that for yourself. No one else can want it for you. So I commit to this because I deserve peace, happiness, and joy in my life. All right. Here we go. Now we get to the good stuff. Steps to reduce your desire for foods. We got 3 of them. Here we go. Step number 1. You have to embrace that life is 50-50. You have to embrace that life is 50-50. What does that mean? It means that life is made up of 50% positive emotions and 50% negative emotions. You will not always be Deal with that and don't fight it. That is the problem. We spend so much of our energy so worried about, well, everybody else is happy and I'm not. And so when the moment we start to feel uncomfortable, oh, I can't deal with that. I've got to eat something. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do something so I don't have to feel that way. No, we have to stop chasing food as the elixir for why we're not happy. And we just have to be okay with, you know what? Bad stuff is going to happen. Bad feelings are going to happen. And that is part of life. So allow negative feelings instead of trying to eat to avoid them. Allow the negative feelings instead of trying to eat to avoid them. Your desire to eat to avoid bad feelings will only increase if you choose to believe that this is true. You have to tell yourself daily, eating is not the answer. Eating does not take, you have to tell yourself that eating does not take away those bad feelings, because you eat and you may feel a moment, a very brief moment, and then those feelings come right back. But your brain, because you've thought it so many times and you've done it so many times, your brain's like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Yeah, let's have a cupcake. It's going to make her feel better. No, you have to stop. You have to break that pattern, and you have to replace it by telling your brain, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to deal with bad feelings. I'm going to let them be there. I'm going to allow myself to feel my feelings, and food will not be the answer. but you have to be very directive with your brain. And I know it sounds absolutely crazy to think about having a third person conversation with your brain, but you have to. That's your brain does not, your brain is like a third person. And if you're a client of mine, I talk all the time about like naming your brain, giving your primal brain a different name and talking to it. And because it's not you, it's not what you want. It's there, it's a part of you, but it's really, you've got to keep it in line because it's been running the show and you can't let it run the show anymore. So, and then you have to understand what your obstacles are and prepare for them. So if you know that something is stressful for you, something is hard, a certain time of the day is difficult for you, prepare for it. If you know that, and again, whether it comes to eating, whether it comes to just relationships, interacting with people, equip yourself, prepare yourself, put yourself in the best possible position to be successful. Just wishing it and hoping that things are going to be different aren't going to do it. That doesn't work. So we have to prepare ourselves. We have to be prepared to deal with obstacles because life is all going to be about obstacles. We know that. We're not living in a vacuum. All right. Step number 2, change your food story. So Lori Howard, this is what I was talking about. So change your food story. So I have 3 questions for you. So I want everybody to write these questions down. 3 questions. Why am I giving food this power in my life? Why? Why am I giving food this power in my life? Second question. What role do I want it to have in my life? What role do I want food to have in my life? And again, you don't have to answer these now. I don't want you to answer them. I want these to be journal questions that you think about, that you write about, and that you really revisit and really think through. And lastly, if food is no longer the center of my life, how will I fill that time? Can you imagine how much time and bandwidth and thought that you could have and put towards other things if you were not thinking about food all the time? It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So we have to change our story that we are telling ourselves about food. We have to. That just has to happen. So you have to figure out, like, why am I giving it power? What is it? Do I not have enough other stuff going on? Is there a situation that is not working for me that I'm choosing to avoid? And food is I'm giving food the power because I don't want to deal with that. Is it a job? Is it a relationship? What is it? What is it that you're not dealing with that you're giving food all that power? Because it does not deserve it and it doesn't need to have it. Probably the most powerful thing that I have ever said to myself and that I continue to tell myself all the time is food is never going away. Just because it's 10 o'clock at night, I don't need to eat the last cookie in the jar. I don't need to eat the whole bag of potato chips. I don't need to eat the last Reese's peanut butter cup that happens to be sitting in my freezer right now. I do not need to eat that because it's going to be there tomorrow. And if it isn't there tomorrow, if somebody comes in and eats it in the middle of the night, I can gosh darn go to the store and get myself another one. But I don't have to eat everything all at one time. No one's taking food away from you. You have to remember that food is always available if you need it, but you don't have to eat it all right now. That's one thing. That was my thing. Eating at night was my jam. And I never, ever, ever, ever thought I would stop eating at night, ever. And that was the thing that got me. I was just like, I can have it tomorrow. Why I live alone? Why am I worrying about somebody coming in and eating my food? Or I just felt like I just had to do it. And it was the story I was telling myself. So when I changed my story, I didn't have to do it anymore. And lastly, change your story of you only eat when you're hungry and you stop eating when you're satisfied. That's it. Now, there's a whole lot more to that one little statement, and that's what I really work on with my clients heavily, is really trying to eat to satisfied. And what does that look like? And how do I stop? How do I stop earlier? How do I stop? Now, how do I know when to stop eating? How do I know when I recognize that my body is actually had enough food? And that is a process. And that's a process that I guide people through that work with me. And it absolutely, it takes practice, but it absolutely, if you can start to eat regularly and not overeat and not eat too much and not leave the table full, that will change. That will absolutely change the game. So eating when you're only eating when you're hungry, not when you're bored, not just because somebody upset you, but eating only when you're hungry and then stopping when you're satisfied. Game changer. All right. And number 3, take charge of your thinking. It's your brain. It runs around crazy, but you can take charge of it. You get to decide. Decide each day that you get to think what you want about food and about your life. You get to make the decision every single morning. You get to decide, how do you want to think about food in your life, its place, its involvement, and then you get to think about your life as well. Next thing, affirmations, affirmations, affirmations. Can't say it enough. Got to do them. Got to do them. They are so incredibly powerful. I just can't say it enough. Affirmations are key. I will post again. Yeah. Kathy Perez, please remind me if I forget. I'm going to just post the affirmations handout in the group. So I'll put the affirmations handout in the group. I've done it a couple times, but I want to make sure you all get it. It might be in the guides. I'm not sure. Well, I'll put it in the guides. So that affirmations every day. And again, these affirmations reinforce this new story you're telling yourself. Understand that all thoughts are optional. Just because your brain says that you need to eat something, that is not true. That is not true, and you do not have to listen to it. Just because your brain says that somebody doesn't like you, you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to believe that. Just because somebody says something or has a thought about you, you do not have to buy into it. You don't have to believe it. You get to think what you need to think. Your opinion of yourself is the only one that matters. What other people think of you is none of your business. Your thoughts are the only ones that matter. And finally, if a thought is causing you upset, tell your brain, no, I don't think that way anymore. And have the full-on dialogue, the full-on conversation about your thoughts. All right, to recap, step 1, life is 50-50. Step 2, change your food story. And step 3, take charge of your thinking. All right, so I'm not sure why all y'all, well, everyone's individual reasons for why you came on this call. Maybe you're frustrated that you give into the call of food. You feel like you know what to do. So many people tell me that, like, I know what to do. Like, why am I not doing it? You want to gain control over food and its place in your life, or maybe you know that you really know, and you've really come to realize that there's a mental component and that you're ready to make a change. You're ready to actually kind of dive into what that means and what that looks like. So managing your desire for food is a great start. And if you're still here in the class, then I know that you have the commitment we talked about earlier to follow through and to make changes happen in your life. And again, it's baby steps, it's small steps, it's just taking those steps and moving forward. And it's not instantaneous and it doesn't happen overnight. But the 3 things we always talk about is patience, time, and consistency. That's what we need: patience, time, and consistency. So everything I've talked about today is not theory. It has been tested by my current and past clients as well as myself. And I know that it works. I know that it works. And I know how much work it takes. I know that it takes commitment, and it takes giving yourself the gift of realizing that, like, I am important enough. This does matter. I am important and I want to overcome this. And it doesn't matter what size you are. It doesn't matter how much weight you have to lose, wherever you are, whatever your relationship with food is, it's important that you decide how you want to move forward. So if there's one thing I want you to, there's one thing I want you to take away from this last hour, is that there is hope and faith that you can change your relationship with food, and more importantly, your relationship with yourself and how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, and again, how that translates and how that relates to food. But it can't just be hope. It can't just be hope, but you have to have, you can't just kind of be like, oh, let me just close my eyes and like do the little fairy dust and hope that it's all going to work out. You have to have a proven system that will provide you with a step-by-step path to follow to get clear directions on what you need to be doing, encouragement, support from a supportive community. You have that in the big group, information and how to implement it, provide that in my podcast. And again, consistent coaching and guidance as questions arise. There are plenty of options and opportunities for all sorts of information for you to get in the large group, in the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community. Lots of free stuff. If you're new, even if you're not new, if you've received my free resources, the course that I had that has all free resources in it, my free course that I just released just about a month ago, that's another option. There's all sorts of things there, but there's also more steps that you can be taking. And if you are at that place where you're like, okay, I can just keep hearing this stuff, but I don't know how to implement it. I don't know how to take it. I don't know how to take it to that next step. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I just feel like I'm kind of like, I get on, it's like getting online and going onto the internet and like going down the black rabbit hole. And you're like, I don't know where I am and I don't know how to get back out. And I don't know what information is true and what information actually works. So before going any further, I want to be sure that I'm super clear with everyone on this call. I only want you to stay in class if you are really serious about making changes and seeing results in your life. Okay. I want to be totally honest. I want to make sure that I'm really clear about that. I want to be really, really clear. If you are clear about making changes in your life, stay on. If you're not, I am totally good with you getting as much information that you got out of the class, and take all the information, all the free stuff that I give in the group, and please take advantage of that. But I really want people who are really serious about making sure that they want to make changes in their lives. So if you're leaving, bye. I'm happy that you made it, and I really appreciate it. And I will make sure that you get your little freebie stuff. So, but you can't, again, that's the wrong direction. Hold on a second. Okay. So if you're ready to change your life, then let's go. So I want to introduce to you what I call the Breakthrough Method, which is an exclusive online course for emotional eaters. So this is a course that I've put together that is taking you through all the aspects of emotional eating, all the things, all the practice, all the things that you need to be doing in order to move yourself forward in the thought work, but also in the management of your food on a day-to-day basis. How do you actually take all this and actually lose weight in the process? How does that work? And so that's what the course offers. The course is for you if you've been on every diet imaginable, you're scared to try another new program that doesn't work for you, you feel like you're a failure at dieting, and you want to finally learn what your secret sauce is to losing weight and keeping it off. In this course, you'll learn how your brain and thoughts work, how you harness the power to lose weight, talking to yourself. We all need to talk more kindly to ourselves, that your self-worth is never in question, that you are always worthy of everything that you have in your life, and that you can love your body and yourself exactly where you are in order to make progress. Now, because you've stayed on the call, stayed on this class, and you've been so gracious with your time, I want to give you two options. The first option is you can purchase that course, that Breakthrough Emotional Eating, that method, or the Breakthrough Method online course. Online course, do it all on your own. The price, $297. Okay. $297, that course. Or option number 2 is the Breakthrough membership, which includes the Breakthrough Method course for $297. You get it for free in the membership, and the price is just $49 a month. Now, the important thing to remember about the membership is that it is a community-based membership, meaning that it is all about support. It is all about people connecting with each other. It is all about getting direct group coaching. So I want to quickly go through, because my thing is going to end here very shortly. Okay, perfect. So I want to quickly go through my frequently asked questions. Can you enroll at any time? No, this is a closed membership, and it is only being opened for the next 2 days until Friday night at 8 p.m. And then it is closed until September. So you only have the next couple of days and only if you're on this call. It is only offered to the people who are on this call or watching the replay. My replay folks, I got you. Is there a minimum amount of time you must enroll in the membership? No, it is entirely month to month. You sign up and then you let me know when you no longer want to be a member. So it's absolutely, there's no commit. What is that? Why is that? Whoa, I don't know what that is. Okay. What is that? Do you guys see those red lines? I don't know what those are. I don't know where this came from. All right. Will I be given a meal plan to follow? Heck no. I do not tell people what to eat. You get to eat. You get to decide what you eat. And I teach you how to eat what you love and lose weight at the same time and be able to soothe your emotions with other things other than food. Self-care, right, Gina Birch? I need guidelines. Will you at least tell me how much I can eat of the foods I love? And again, no, I won't. But you will learn how to teach yourself how to do that and how to recognize your natural ability to be able to recognize when you're truly hungry and when you need to stop eating in order to lose weight. And you will figure out what that is on your own and with my help. Will I get direct coaching from me? Oh, on 3 calls a week. We have 3 group coaching calls a week. And I absolutely coach people on calls. Whenever they have an issue, it happens quite frequently that we get issues on calls. And so I will do direct coaching at that time. And as a special thank you for staying in the class, if you join the membership between now and 10 p.m. Eastern time, I will give you anyone who signs up a free 30-minute one-on-one individual coaching call. So you will have a free coaching call with me to come into the as a part of being in the membership. Lori Wright, did we have a nice conversation the other day?
Yes, we did. Very good.
Was it helpful?
Isn't this what you're talking about? What I'm already enrolled in?
Girl, you are already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we got a great call.
So
I'm just like thinking, wait a minute here.
Wait a minute. No,
Okay.
you're already there, Laura. You're good.
Okay.
So if there's any, I'm going to just go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And so if there is anybody have any questions about any of that, I'm going to drop the link in. Let me go get my hold on. Let me get my, where did it go? There it is. Hold on. All right. I'm going to drop a link into there we go. Let me drop a link into okay. I'll drop a link into the chat and you can go in the meeting. You just click on that. It'll take you to a page that'll give you more details. Let me make sure that's there. Yep. And so if you click on that, it'll open up into a link into your browser and you can go oh, thank you, Debbie Rooney. That's so sweet. Yes, Nancy, that's absolutely possible, 100%. I'm just going to say yes. So Nancy, if you're listening, yes, absolutely. Not a problem at all. Oh, yeah, maybe I did. Thank you, Kathy Perez. Maybe I was writing all over myself here. So again, if you have any questions about, and again, any questions about the membership, again, you can watch this recording again. I will send the recording out to everyone who registered tomorrow. You also can send a personal message to me if you have any questions about the membership. You can also chat it up with any of my girls who are on this call right now. So I have Debbie, Julie, Gina, Leslie, Lori, Ann, Trisha, Sarah, anybody who's in the membership would be happy to answer any questions that if you have any questions about, if you want to put a question up in the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community and just say, hey, what is this really all about? You absolutely can ask those questions at all. There is, let me see. The membership includes online course access. Yes, Paget includes everything. Yes. So it's
thank you.
It's the course. It's the big course. And also there are, and I forgot, I didn't even talk about we also have a homework group too. So I run 3 calls during the week, 3 coaching calls during the week that people jump onto, but there's also a homework group that is run by one of our members that I am not, and it's not that I'm not a part of it. Like I'm getting shunned from it, but it's a really informal homework group. If anybody wants to chime in about the homework group, you can drop a comment in the chat or you can just jump in. I sometimes think that the homework group is more powerful than what I do. I think it is. I think the homework group is more because the other coaching calls I will, it's just more of an open forum. And not that I've ever been on one before, but I hear about it all the time. Right, Jackie? The homework group is pretty cool. So I think that is, what is this? Not sure why, but the link shows. Oh, huh. Okay, Kathy, that's interesting. Let me look at that. Is that, oh, you know why, Kathy? Because you're probably logged in as me in Google. That's probably why. That's probably why. Okay. Yes, we love the homework group. The homework group is amazing. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna let you all get to your, oh my gosh, it's 9:15 for some of you. Get to bed. It's dark. Jackie's outside and it's dark. So if anyone, oh, hi, Holly. I didn't even see you down there with that pretty little heart on there. If anybody has, oh, Grandma, you're here too. Hi. So if anybody has any questions at all, please don't hesitate. You can put a question up in the big group, in the Breakthrough Emotional Eating group. You can message me privately, anything like that at all. Please feel free. We're a total open book. You can ask any of the girls any questions you want about the membership at all. Let me see. Here is, oh, Kathy, thank you. Okay. Appreciate that. So if there's not any more questions, if anybody, I'm going to send you all off into the night and make sure that you have gotten all the information that you need. If you have any questions, again, this is going to be sent out as a replay tomorrow to everybody who registered. So please feel free to watch it again, fast forward through the technical difficulties and all that good stuff. But if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to let me know. You can ask Kathy in the group too, as well, or me. We'll answer any questions that you have. Okay. I hope it was helpful. I hope that it gave you some things to think about in the way of thoughts and what you can do to start managing. Again, managing food is not about not keeping it at the house. It's about what you're thinking about it in the story that you're creating. And so we all have things and all play a role in that. And we get to, it's very, I hope that you see it as very empowering. So we'll go from there. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. And I will see you all in the group. All right. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. For more information on emotional eating and losing weight, please go to www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough and join the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community. I hope to see you soon.